Interesting fact that, you know, the birth chart, the astrology chart of our Srila Prabhupada indicated in his chart that he would accumulate very vast wealth in his life. Yeah? And he would become one of the most wealthy men in India. That was stated in his chart. Yeah. So he was naturally thinking, as a Vaishnava, that, okay, the way that I'll do this service is I will accumulate wealth and I'll serve Krishna like this. And as my Guru Maharaj told me, I'll print books and all of this, right? But Krishna had a different plan, how this would unfold. So when he heard this verse, when he read this verse, he was uneasy. Because he was thinking, well, I have to try to become successful materially. So he did, in his life, he did, and he was describing that the pathway that his life showed was that he would become very successful. Like initially he became the manager in a very, very big chemical factory, pharmaceutical factory, one of the biggest in India. And that went on for some time. We won't tell all details, but gradually what happened was that went down. That opportunity was lost. Now he again had to start up. Then he started up his own pharmaceutical company, and it became very successful. He was situated in Allahabad, in Prayag. It was called Prayag Pharmacy. And he had his own formulas and everything. And even the government, politicians, president of India, they used to purchase his medicines. And was very successful for some time. Then again, it went down twice. And his final attempt was to open up his own shop in Calcutta, which he did. And it was providing what was needed. And it became more and more successful, but then that also gradually diminished. And exactly what Krishna said in the verse began to take place. That his wealth was going away, and his family members, some of them, they were seeing him as... And so then, at that time, he understood, okay, this is Krishna's will now. I should renounce family life. And then, yeah.
Is it true that towards the end of his family life, he came home and noticed a Bhagavatam or a few of his Bhagavatams?
Yes, he told that story.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tell it.
Well, from what I've heard a few times, but I've never,
Yeah, I think just...
He came home and his Bhagatams were missing, and his wife said there was no money, and I had to sell them to buy tea. So he thought, that is the last straw.
Yeah, you have to understand the cultural implication of this. Because tea drinking was introduced to India by the British. Okay? And they used to exploit India for this. In Darjeeling and different places, they would have vast tea, what they call orchards.
What did you say,
Darjeeling. Darjeeling is one place in the eastern part where they have hill country, perfect place. And they would export it, and then they introduced it to all of India, you know. So, Vaishnavas don't drink tea because it has caffeine. And that's one of the things that strict Vaishnavas will not take. So Srila Prabhupada was trying to make his family members into Vaishnavas. And we have an example here that even a very pure, exalted devotee, it may happen that his family members may not be so supportive. Right? It may happen. It may happen that they're very supportive, or it may happen that they're not so supportive, because, of course, they're very fortunate to have such a person in their family line. But yet they themselves have to accept, they have to embrace this, they have to understand it. So they were pious, but they were not that serious, you see. And his wife, Srila Prabhupada, was not happy because this kind of behavior was going on for some time, and this was like the final straw. She sold his Srimad Bhagavatams to purchase tea. And then And then he also told her once that it's tea or me. So this was like Krishna's arrangement, engineering everything to happen. And Srila Prabhupada began to have these dreams of his guru coming to him. It's actually narrated by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj in his memories of Srila Prabhupada. He tells the exact story, how one day in the middle of the night, because he was staying in Prabhupada's house, he would come and visit, and then he would go back and forth between Calcutta and Navadvip, where he had a temple, small temple. And he did this over a period of 11 years. So they were very close, very intimate. And Prabhupada considered Srila Sridhar Maharaj to be like his instructing guru. He accepted so much spiritual knowledge from him, see? And he was senior to him also.
He said himself, Srila Prabhupada said himself, my Gurudev, he is preparing me so that I can fulfill the order of my spiritual master. Humble,
That's,
so humble.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then when the dream came to him in the middle of the night, he woke up and he came and woke up Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And he told, I had this dream. So he was consulting with him what to do. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, don't act too abruptly, just wait for some time and consider. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, I think like a week later or something, and the dream came again. And again he came in the middle of the night. And then they talked for some time, and he went and took rest. Next day, Srila Prabhupada, Abhaycharanadavinda, was gone. Didn't take anything, just left. And so he was, when he came to Mathura and met Srila Narayan Raj, and he was telling this story, as I'm narrating here, I'm repeating what he told. Then he said, when I was a young man and I saw this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, I was very uncomfortable, right? And I was trying my best to not have this happen to me. But he said, but now I see that that what Krishna told has come down on my head. And that began the happy period of his renunciation part of his life. Okay? Yes. And he, from that point on, he became more and more and more deeply absorbed in Krishna, living in the holy place, intensively chanting the holy names, and he began to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam into English. That became his life work. And so there's a whole history I would suggest that you read. There's one very nice small book that it's like a summary of his life, all the different periods of his life. It's a book of Prabhupada, his biography. Very nicely tells. And so Srila Prabhupada prepared himself, and Krishna prepared him for this incredible mission, and then he did what no one could even have dreamt of.
Such a short period.
In a very short period, in 12 years' time, he brought to the whole world. Whole world. And, you know, previously, sannyasis, in the Vedic times, they were forbidden to cross the ocean. They were written in the different parts of the Vedas. They were forbidden to ride in conveyances. They were forbidden to wear shoes in the ancient times, you know. But in the modern times, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he changed all that, because he said, according to Rupa Goswami, real renunciation, and the highest renunciation is called Yukta Vairagya. There are two types of renunciation, Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. Falgu means pretentious, not real, external renunciation. But Yukta Vairagya means complete and real, true renunciation. And how does that manifest? Srila Rupa Goswami wrote a verse to describe the meaning of real renunciation. It says, Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. This is the definition verse of yukta vairagya. So, what is the meaning? Anasaktasya vishayan. Without attachment to the sense objects of this world. Yatarham upayunjata, but utilizing them, engaging them, nirbandha Krishna sambandhe, understanding that everything is related to Krishna. It has Krishna sambandha. The other day we mentioned the word sambandha, relationship. So it has sambandha to Krishna. So when someone utilizes everything without attachment to that for their sense enjoyment, but they're utilizing that to serve Krishna because it has connection, it's his energy, it belongs to him, then this type of action is called yukta vairagya. It's true renunciation. And this is why, even in household life, when someone has a house, children, family members, many articles of our household paraphernalia, cars and furniture and, land and, in Vedic times, animals and, gardens. So everything that someone possesses, even as a householder, someone can be a renunciate when they live with this full understanding and no attachment. Because the attachment is the problem of us conditioned souls in this world. We become attached and we identify. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Moha, the word moha means illusion. Moha. So when someone is in illusion of the material energy called maya, they begin to identify that aham mama, aham mameti, janasya mohoyam aham mameti. I am this physical body, and all who are related to this body, they are mine. The two words aham, meaning I, and mama, meaning mine. This is the illusion of maya. So every conditioned soul has this illusion. They're born into this illusion. But the objective of human life is to become free from this illusion and this false attachment and become attached to the reality, you see. So Vaishnava life and this Varnashram Dharma system, this 4 orders, spiritual orders and social orders, is meant for a scientific, step-by-step progression so that one can become free from all illusion, from all attachment, from all misidentification, and can completely focus on Krishna. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a book of songs. He wrote a few books. And this book is called Sharanagati. Means surrender. Sharanagati, surrender. How to surrender to Krishna? Because Krishna says in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, give up all other dharmas and just surrender to me, and I will protect you. Do not fear. So there's a very beautiful song that we all learned when we were young, called Manasa Deha Geho Yo Kichumor. It's also in our songbook here. And when you find it. '18.
92 in this book.
118 in the blue book. Yes, so here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about the limb of surrender in which one fully embraces Krishna as one's Gopta. Gopta. Gopta means my guardian and my maintainer. So a surrendered devotee, he always thinks in his life, in a very practical, real way, he thinks that everything is being arranged by Krishna. And Krishna is my maintainer. I don't maintain myself. Krishna is arranging to maintain me and every other living entity. The ants, the animals, the trees, all are getting what they require. So this is a reciprocation where the devotee actually surrenders. It's called Atma Nivedanam. Atma Nivedanam means what?
Self-surrender.
Right, and what does that mean? Self-surrender.
Body, mind, words, whatever we have,
Mm.
possess, our possessions,
Right.
home, family, whatever, everything he gives.
He gives to
All
Krishna.
his energy.
So he's telling in this song how to give it. How he is using his own self as an example. And he says, Manasa deho geho yo kichu mo arpilu tua pade nanda kishore. So he's praying to Krishna in his beautiful form of a cowherd boy, the beautiful young son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna, his eternal form. And he's saying, O Nanda Kishore, my mind, my body, my household, my family, and everything else, I place this, I'm offering this at your lotus feet. You see? This is a very deep thing. How to do that? Everything, he says, Yokichu more, whatever I possess. And I'm giving my very self to you. My thoughts, my mind, my body, my words, everything that's possessed, I'm giving it to you. Then he says, Sampade vipade, jivane marane, dai mama gela tua opada barane. Sampade vipade. That means in good fortune or in bad fortune. Jivane marane. Either in life or in death. In any situation that I may be in. Oh, I take shelter at your lotus feet. All of my possessions I have given to you. So now, I no longer take any responsibility for them. Tua opada barane. He says, Marabi rakobi yo ichatohar. You can either slay me or protect me, as you wish. That is your itcha. It is your will. Nitya das prati tua adhikar. You have the right to do this. Why? Because I am your eternal servant. I am your nitya das. That's my position. So I have no right to demand. You're my master, I'm your servant. So if you want, you can protect me. If you want, you can kill me. Janmao bimoy itcha jaditor. If it is your will that I should again be born in this world, because after someone dies, there is birth. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita beginning. For one who has taken his birth, death is certain. For one who is dead, who dies, birth is certain. Right? So he's saying, if it is your will that I should be born again, then please, I'm requesting Bhakta Grihe Jani Janma Haamor, that I can be born in the home of your devotee, of your Bhakta. Kita Janmahao Jata Tuadasa. May I be born again even as a worm. In that species, that low species, kita, means worm. But as long as I continue to be your servant, your devotee. However, Bahir Mukha Brahma Janme Nahi Ash. I have no desire to be born even as Brahma, if that Brahma is averse to you. So it's very acceptable for me to be born as a worm if the worm is your devotee. But I don't even want to be born as the highest living being in the universe, Brahma, if he is averse to you. You see? Bhukti Mukti Spriha Vihina Jay Bhakta. I always yearn for the company of the devotees who are completely devoid of all desires for what? For bhukti and mukti. What is bhukti?
Sense enjoyment, bhukti, and to enjoy the material world.
Yeah, bhukti. And mukti?
Desire liberation.
Right. Not have to take birth again. But he says, I want the association of persons who are free from both of these. Because pure devotion to Krishna even gives up the desire for liberation. Because there's some self-interest is involved there, you see. Yeah? That I want to get out of this cycle of birth and death. But it does not necessarily have the desire to serve Krishna mixed with that. Because actually, through renunciation, one may be able to gradually attain liberation. But that renunciation is the opposite side of sense enjoyment, or which is called exploitation. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar used to nicely explain this, that exploitation and renunciation are the opposites. They're also called bhog tyag. Someone enjoys for some time, and then they become disgusted with the enjoyment, and then they want to give it up. They want to renounce. But then, like a pendulum swings back and forth, now, after renouncing, then they want to again go back to sense enjoyment. So the desire for impersonal liberation is actually filled with selfish interest. It is not pure devotion. And pure devotees, they never desire this. What do they desire? What he's expressing here. I only want to be your devotee. And I want to have the association of such pure devotees in my life, he says. Yes. Labhaite taka sangha anurakta. Anurakta means, oh, I have such a strong yearning for that. And then he says, O Krishna, tuhum sarvamoy, you are everything to me. You are my father, my Janak. You are my mother, Janani. You are my beloved, Dvayata. You are my son, Tanoi. You are my Lord, my Prabhu. You are my preceptor, my Guru. You are my Pati, my husband. Tuhu sarvamoy, you are everything to me. So you can see from this that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a very, very deep, deep Vaishnava, because everything, his whole heart and soul is given to Krishna. And he lives in this world just to serve Krishna. He does not have any sense of possessiveness over his family members and even his own body and mind. He's given everything to Krishna. So he says at the end, Bhaktivinoda kohe shuno Khan. O Krishna, O Kana, please hear me. Radhanath, Radhanath tuhu hamar paran. O beloved of Radha, Radhanath, O Lord of Radha, tuhu hamar paran. You are my very life. You are my pran. So very beautiful sentiments and moods are expressed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he's teaching through his songs how we can become pure Vaishnavas and how we can, in our own life, imbibe these different moods of pure devotion. So very sublime. This is why we sit together and we open up the songbooks, we read them, we sing the songs that they've written, because these are so nourishing to our desire of our heart. And it helps to excavate this treasure that is within our heart by hearing and chanting their moods, their songs. So we can sing this. Manasa deho deho jo kichamo. Manasa deho geho yo kichumo arpilu tuapade nanda kishore manasa deho Nanda